Well, good morning, everyone. And once again, welcome to another live this morning. And hope you're having a great start to your day. Hope you had your vitamin C. Hope you've had your water. Hope you've had your bacon and eggs. Brahim, how are you? And good top of the morning to you. Andrea, Niagara Falls, good morning. You guys are always at the top. Mike from Norland, number 3 today. Sharon, how are you? Sandy from Fergus Falls, Minnesota. Where is that? Sandra, I know where Minnesota is. Rosa, how are you? Marlene, good morning. Sally, how you doing? And who is that? From Chatham. Nina? Deb. Motown. Rain Cloud, how are you from Michigan? Diane, how are you? Thunder Bay. And Georgie, Halifax, Nova Scotia. Nick from our staff, good morning. Marlene, London. And Bonnie, Manitoulin Island. Gary from Bolton. And Heather. And Jeanette from Hearst, Ontario. Yolande. Wendy from Markham. Sherry from Mississauga. Janet, good morning. Gail, Saskatchewan. Dave, Muskoka. Yvonne, Petawawa. Lorraine, Oshawa. And see, I missed it. Went up in the clouds. Kevin, there you are. From Oshawa, Donna. Newfoundland. Jeanine. Carol, Newfoundland. Troy. There's my buddy. Dr. Bennett from Newfoundland. Jeanette. Anne from Moncton. And Wanda from Virginia. And who is that? From Newfoundland. Lisa. And Lori. Cambridge. Fran from Orangeville. Good morning, Fran. Clinton from Sheridan, Wyoming. Elaine, good morning. Francis, guys, we get you from all over North America, actually all over the world. Dave, Chantal, Sudbury, Nellie, good morning. And Dave, how are you? Lots of Daves, lots of Jude, how are you? And see, I missed, it goes up into the clouds, guys, and I can't see the name. Who else here? Bunny and Rose, how are you? Lighthouse Cove. Christina and Barbara, Cape Breton. Couple of more guys and we'll get going. Laurie Lee, Ventura, California. Deb from Timmins. Linda, Grand Falls. Rita, Wasaga. Beautiful. Dave, how are you this morning? And Marianne and Arlene, I think, but something went up ahead of that. Irene from Patricia, good morning. Linda, we love those Lindas, as you know. John from Lefroy. Patricia is saying hello. Donna, guys, we love you. And another Dave. Carmel. Newfoundland, and I missed it, from Kingston. I couldn't see the name. Rose. Okay, guys, here we go. John, how are you? Okay, now, what I promised you is this morning we're going to look at type 3 diabetes, okay? Because last week we looked into the gut-brain connection, and we went into some detail on leaky gut, leaky brain. Now, we actually spent 2 sessions on leaky gut and leaky brain. And the study that came out talked about the gut-brain connection in Alzheimer's. So guys, if you've listened to us over the years, you know that we talk about what we call the seeds of disease. And at the Martin Clinic, we came to this years ago. We talked about the seeds of disease, like what causes the vast majority of diseases, chronic diseases, inflammation without infection, okay? So 100 years ago, you used to die mostly from infection. Now, that still happens. It's not that people don't die anymore from infections, because they do, right? Every year, thousands and thousands of people die from the flu. Usually, though, almost invariably, almost without exception, the people that die from the flu, okay, generally, older and with pre-existing conditions. You got a bad lung condition, COPD or whatever, you get a flu, it can kill you, okay? Generally, the flu ain't going to kill healthy people, generally. I mean, there's always exceptions, but they're rare, okay? And that's why what we're talking now are pre-existing conditions when it comes to, but chronic conditions, heart disease. Let's talk about the 4 big killers, okay, just for a second. Heart disease still number 1, cancer number 2. What has crept up to number 3 on the hit parade of how you're going to die? Alzheimer's. And 4, diabetes. But they're all connected. They're all connected. Heart disease, cancer, Alzheimer's, diabetes. Because if you go to the 4th one, diabetes, it's all diabetes. It's a metabolic syndrome. And 93% of the population are in that. So last week we talked about the seeds of disease, and one of them is leaky gut. That you don't have to go very far. 20 years ago, medicine generally would laugh at that. Laugh at the connection between the gut and the brain. They'd say there's no connection. They would laugh at it. Leaky gut. Yeast in your blood? Are you kidding me? You're going to die if you had yeast. Nobody gets yeast in their blood. But now we know better. Okay? Now we know better. I've been preaching this for 40-something years or more. Leaky gut, leaky brain. Okay? So we talked about that. Today, what I want to talk about is type 3 diabetes, which is 2005, won a Nobel Prize. We called Alzheimer's type 3 diabetes. Now, I've got the brain out here, okay? I get out my old atlas that got me through school, okay? And we're looking now at the brain, okay? So let's look at the brain, and we're going to talk about type 3 diabetes, okay? So you see the brain there? Well, there's all sorts of cross sections of it, okay? And this is, okay? And I'm going to show you something. So, when you eat, it doesn't matter what you eat. Well, it matters, but at the end of the day, you have to look at your brain. Look at your brain as what? Headquarters. Okay? It's like the government. It gets taxes first. So when you eat, your brain says, hey, come here, to food. It says, no, I get the first 25%. Like the government, right? Your brain is headquarters. It wants fuel. Okay? So, headquarters says, headquarters, you see it up here, okay, which one you want to look at. Headquarters says, okay, you're eating, I get the first 25%. Okay? So, but let's say someone out there is a carbaholic. My name is Tony, and I'm a carbaholic. Okay? And carbs break down into sugars rapidly. So you have sugar, glucose, fructose, okay? Glucose. And let's say you like bread, pasta, rice, cereal, sugar, sweets, pastries, whatever. Like the majority of the world, okay? They like to eat that stuff. Okay. It gets to the brain rapidly, 25% of it. And it gets up into headquarters up here. Okay? And it comes in a simple form of glucose. Okay? What's the problem with that? Well, if you do it once, it ain't the end of the world. But if that's what people are living on, glucose comes into the brain, okay? Remember, it's headquarters. And insulin is produced. Now, if you eat a steak, insulin is produced, but not much. Why? Okay, why? Because insulin is sort of on the sidelines. Yeah, you need a little bit of glucose in your brain from steak. Okay, we give you a little bit. But insulin doesn't have a big job to do there. It has a huge job when we eat carbohydrates, and especially crappy carbs, simple carbs, sugars. They break down rapidly, and now you need insulin because remember, insulin doesn't want to let sugar park in the brain very long. It can't. It's like your blood, guys. What do I say all the time? It's a no parking zone for sugar. You can have a little bit, but you can't have a lot of it. And insulin says, hey, I'm sorry, it's a no parking zone. And it's the same thing in your blood supply in your brain. Now your insulin says, hey, I can't let you park there. The problem is, okay? The problem is you got a barrier around here. It's invisible. It's microscopic. You got a barrier around your brain, okay? I'm just putting my finger around the brain. You got a barrier there. What's it called? The blood-brain barrier. BBB. Blood-brain barrier. Okay? Your gut, we taught you this. Your gut has a barrier. It's called your gut-blood barrier. But in your brain, it's called the BBB, blood-brain barrier. And even when I was in school in the 1970s, we learned about the blood-brain barrier. Now, we didn't know very much. We knew it existed. And there's a barrier to keep stuff out of the brain. Here's the problem when you insist on eating carbohydrates. Okay? When you live on carbs, rapidly turns to glucose, insulin comes to the blood-brain barrier, and it wants to get across because it needs to take that sugar out of your brain. It says, no, come here. Problem is, you develop, or I'm not saying you, but the world develops out there, a resistance. Your blood-brain barrier becomes resistant to insulin. The more carbs you eat, the more your brain becomes resistant. The blood-brain barrier becomes resistant to insulin. It's called what? We teach this every day, insulin resistance, or high circulating insulin. So at the cellular level in the brain, it's like the rest of the body. You know, when insulin comes around all the time, your cells can't stand it. They go, will you get out of here? I hate you. You're a pesky neighbor. Why are you coming here all the time? Right? So insulin goes, knock, knock, knock to the brain, let me in. And the brain says, no, I can't stand you. Get out of here. 93% of the population, listen, Linda. 93% of the population has some form of insulin resistance, and that occurs in the brain too. It's headquarters for fuel. Okay? Then when you get insulin resistance around the brain, okay, something happens. Your brain cells are swimming in glucose. It's like you're in the ocean. You're swimming in the ocean. Do you drink the water? No. Your brain is swimming in the ocean of sugar, and it can't use it as fuel. It's swimming in, it's like us swimming in salt water. Okay, you can swim in it, but can you drink it? Nah, you can't drink it. And it's the same thing, guys, with the brain. When the brain develops insulin resistance, the brain cells, especially guys, and they've shown this, okay? I'm going to show you up here, okay? Right, this level of the brain right here is called your what? Hypo or hippo. Hypo. I call it hypo. Hippocampus. You have your hypothalamus, hormones. Hippocampus, memory. The brain is swimming in fuel that it can't use, especially your hippocampus. Your brain cells. Okay? They're starving to death. They're shrinking. Your brain cells shrink. And they shrink, shrink, shrink. They don't grow. They shrink. It's the wrong fuel. Okay? And that's why, my friend, that's why we've developed a new condition, so named in 2005, type 3 diabetes. It is Alzheimer's, but it's type 3 diabetes of the brain. It's insulin resistance of the brain. You got leaky gut, leaky brain. Garbage gets into the brain. And researchers are saying it's a factor in Alzheimer's. But we've known for a long time, almost 20 years now, that there's another condition of the brain, Alzheimer's of the brain, and that is type 3 diabetes. The brain is diabetic. And that doesn't mean, like, the problem is we wait and wait and wait. Medicine waits till you're a diabetic. Your body is dedicated to you not becoming a diabetic. It's dedicated to it. It's the last thing that happens, where your blood sugar is skyrocketing. It's the last thing, not the first thing, because insulin is dedicated to controlling your blood sugar. It doesn't want it to go too high, and it doesn't want it to go too low. You need some sugar, guys. You don't need to eat it, by the way. Your body will take a steak and give you some glucose, okay? But this brain is now, the brain is swimming in the wrong fuel. And the more we study it, guys, the more researchers study this phenomenon, you know what they're coming to? Is something that I've been saying for a long time. As a nutritional expert, okay? With a PhD in nutrition. Here's what I've been saying for a long time. Yeah, but it's not only diabetes of the brain. What do you think bipolar is? What do you think bipolar is? It's the wrong fuel in the brain. And these people, like a bipolar person, I saw a lot of bipolar in my office, lots of it. Okay? And the problem was, okay, with bipolar, schizophrenia, is to get a person like that to understand. I mean, there's other factors, but here's what they could control. What you put, I said, listen, you're a canary in the coal mine. Your brain is hypersensitive. It's just the way you're built. You and sugar don't get along. What? Yeah. You don't. You got a bad relationship. It's like a pre-diabetes of the brain. I said this 50 years ago. Your brain is operating on the wrong fuel. Every cell in your brain has battery packs. If you give those battery packs the wrong fuel, it's a huge factor in mental health. A huge factor in mental health. And people are starting to recognize that now. There's leaky gut. It's a factor. Leaky gut, leaky brain, that's a big factor in mental health. And the other one is fuel. And they're really looking at it. Dr. McEwen and I, okay, at the University of Tennessee, she understands this. Her and I have been talking about this for a long time. Brain in the fuel for the brain. And those battery packs, those mitochondria, they're starving to death. They're swimming in an ocean. I kind of like that. They're swimming and drowning in an ocean of bad fuel. There's a lot of fuel, but it's bad fuel. Type 3 diabetes. That's how it happens. The brain becomes resistant to insulin. Insulin needs to get in the brain to get that sugar out of there. I mean, it allows some to stay in. If your brain's operating properly, if your body's operating properly, and you're eating the right foods, eggs, meat, and cheese, okay? And you have a few carbs, if you have some vegetables and fruit. Don't drink it. But if you're having some vegetables and fruit, I got no problem. You ain't getting Alzheimer's from fruit and vegetables. Okay? You ain't. But you don't live on them. There's not enough nutrients in there. You want your brain to be filled with nutrients. That's why I tell people all the time. I said, you're talking about like low carb, like it's insanity. I didn't say no carb. 30 days, yes. But I'm not a no carb guy. I'm not. But what I'm saying is, I'm a nutrient guy. It's nutrients. It's real nutrition. What do your brain cells thrive with? Meat. They thrive. You don't need a lot of insulin. Your brain doesn't develop, the blood-brain barrier doesn't develop insulin resistance when you eat the right fuels. Okay? That's why, guys, in 2005, I remember on my radio show, I think I spent several weeks as the hot topic was type 3 diabetes, Alzheimer's. And 2005, Alzheimer's? It's nothing compared to what we know about Alzheimer's today and how prevalent it is. And we're all scared skinny of it. You get my age, you think I want Alzheimer's? What's your name? No, but seriously, you guys, you've seen it and I've seen it. Wow, what a devastating disease that is. And for years, listen to me, for years, medicine has focused in on amyloid plaques as Alzheimer's. They were rushing to find medication to fix amyloid plaques. It's been, I don't know how to say this. In medicine, it has been a catastrophe. Okay? Can I put this down? It has been a catastrophe. You know why? Because they were looking for love in all the wrong places. And what was it? The summer of 2021 or 2022? I gotta remember now. Mental health was turned upside down. And I know it wasn't going to change. There wouldn't be a big paradigm shift in medicine. I knew it wasn't going to happen. But the British Medical Journal, other prestigious journals came out and said, you know what? We were wrong on Alzheimer's. We were wrong. It's not plaque. We were wrong on depression. It's not chemical imbalance. We were wrong on anxiety. It's not a chemical imbalance. It doesn't start with that. We were wrong. Now, nobody get the memo. I got the memo. And I talked to you about it in several podcasts. That the mental health industry, do you think that's changed one iota? No. Isn't it amazing that no one, or very few, talk about food and mental health? They even though there's so much research now showing the connection. They're so ingrained, so trained. And you got to understand, and I feel sorry for doctors and whatever, they just don't learn nutrition. And even the nutrition they learn is all based on moderation. And, you need all of the foods. You need carbs. You need, you need some sugar. Your body can't live without it. And they just don't understand nutrition. And they certainly don't understand nutrients. And that's why even today, guys, in 2024, even today, they're still talking, generally, that if you take the food chain, the pyramid, and that the basis of the pyramid, the one that they want you to eat the most of, is fruits and vegetables and grains. Fruits and vegetable and grain. And, well, some of them don't want you to eat any meat at all. But they'll say, well, you can have a little bit of meat there. And, watch your eggs because you're going to get cholesterol and cheese. Cheese, that's fattening. Right? So they think Dr. Martin is a quack. Quack, 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 quack. But I'm a nutrient guy. I want to see the nutritional value of food. Bring me broccoli. Bring me your best grain. Dr. Martin, don't you know? I'm eating 12 grain cereal. I don't care. It's garbage. It's not nutrient dense. It can't even hold a candle to an egg or a piece of meat or dairy. Good dairy. There's bad dairy. Bad dairy is grocery store milk. That's bad dairy. Okay? I wish we all had a cow in the backyard, but we don't. Okay? We don't. Okay. Type 3 diabetes. Interesting, isn't it? Right? So now you know, when we talk about the brain, we talk about Alzheimer's. When we talk mental health, the brain is headquarters. It is hypersensitive to food. You'll still survive. You can eat junk all day and you'll still survive. You're playing Russian roulette. That's all. You're playing Russian roulette with only with a loaded gun, maybe with one bullet missing out of the chamber. You're just playing Russian roulette. People play Russian roulette today. They've been lied to. Did you have fun this morning? Okay, I did. I enjoy teaching. I'm a simple guy, guys. I got to make it simple for me. I got to be able to understand it. And I hope you appreciate that. That's just the way I operate, guys. Okay? I'm not trying to reach doctors. I'm not. If they listen, good for them. But I'm reaching on my audience and educating my audience. Okay? Now, we got a great week coming up. We got some great teaching, some really good, interesting. You know me, I'm always looking for studies, and I want to make it relevant to you. Okay? Practical and relevant. Okay. Guys, we love you dearly. Send in your questions. People ask questions every day. I'll answer questions. Sometimes I answer them before question and answer Friday. If I see something, we can answer a question ahead of time. We love you, love you, love you, love you. Talk to you soon.